anybody that decides to actually watch this video. For the last couple of years, I tried to reach out to a few of my old friends. It didn't go well. Mostly because they were smart. I knew them. I was close to them. I knew their capabilities. I knew their education. I knew they were smart. Things I've learned about over the last 20 years. You know, some people went to college to stick needles in people's arms and backs and necks, and some people went to college to do other things. That wasn't the path I took. After 9/11, I spent maybe 90% of my waking time with the news and other things. A lot of weird stuff, a lot of not weird stuff. Anything that interested me. This new coronavirus thing has everybody freaked out. And for the last, 19 years, I've been getting my master's degree in crazy shit. And stuff that I know, a lot of stuff that I know to be just absolute truth. Trying to explain it to somebody is almost impossible. Here in the near future, everybody's going to kind of get the idea that, wait a minute, something else is going on here. A lot of people's vision of the world is going to be shook. I guess everybody's will, and even mine. This quarantine's going to happen. It has to, but it has nothing to do with coronavirus. I'm going to leave some pictures down below in the comments, and as you watch this, I want you to go back and reference these pictures so you kind of get an understanding. The first one's going to be follow the white rabbit. This has been a saying I've been hearing for 2.5 years now on this crazy kooky conspiracy theory. This crazy kooky conspiracy theory started October 28th, 2017. I've been pretty much following this since the beginning. How I found it, I got no idea. I'm going to call it, I was pushed there. From the very beginning, every post, I've seen them all. It links a lot of the crazy conspiracy theories that people have heard. It links a lot of them together. Helps you understand it. And at first thought this was all just going to happen real fast. And that's just not the way it worked. And I don't think any of you are ready for the whole truth yet. It's going to have to start with this. It's going to have to start with the coronavirus. That picture of the follow the white rabbit. The next picture is a tattoo that I got over a year ago. And the picture after that is the picture of my tattoo that was shined on live TV on the Capitol Dome on Fox News a couple nights ago. The signals and the signs and the what we call proofs have been just unreal. And 99% of the population glances over it, never even notices it. And if they did, oh, that's weird. And I'm going to pick up on it. For the millions of people that have been following the movement, we're all laughing. We're all sitting back saying, oh my God, this is it. It's really real. And then you're faced with what do you do with it? And you see all your friends. You see them. You just see them just on both sides of it. Both sides of the fence. It's the same games that we've been taught for so long. Through sports, through everything, how to oppose each other. All these boxes, these segments of society, we're putting in these little boxes, and I have to be against you, and you have to be against me, and And we got to fight. I mean, there's no way all of us Americans are so far apart. There's no way. But they need us that way. If we all just had our own opinions and our own thoughts and our own free will, we wouldn't be nearly as easily controlled. We act like Donald Trump's a Republican. He's got Democrats wanting war. He's got Republicans wanting peace. He's just doing common sense stuff, and he's loved for it and hated at the same time. Just like this weird natural thing, I guess. The media, if you're watching the news, you're seeing what they want you to see. It's controlled. Project Mockingbird is CIA people planted in the media. It's a real program that allegedly used to exist. Anything that works, I don't think they ever discontinue. They mostly just change the name of it. But people like me, we still call it Project Mockingbird, or the Mockingbird mainstream media. You go to fact check, and yeah, if you get some fake news, fact check will squash it. But when you get some good news, some real stuff they don't want you to know about, it's going to say false up there, and then you have to read way down through the paragraph and find where it says it's not probable, or it wouldn't make a lot of sense, or they put some weird phrase in there and disprove a phrase and don't touch the substance of it. It just, fact check is no different than going to CNN or Fox News. It's what they need you to believe. But there is a lot of fake stuff out there too. It's just a conundrum. Back to coronavirus. As you'll see in that first picture, adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is human blood. The best way to get the good stuff is to bring a human being into a lot of pain, into a lot of fear, to let the adrenal glands release the adrenaline into your blood system. At this time, the blood needs to be harvested. This is the fountain of youth. This is why you have people like Jennifer Aniston looking like she's still 30 years old. This is how, the elites of our world live to be 94 years old. Still chasing 30-year-old women around, or worse. A lot of things about this thing didn't make a lot of sense. I made some posts about the Harvard professor that was arrested and indicted. Top scientist in the world at what he does. Had some Chinese students that were linked to the Chinese military in his class, working with him. He was the one responsible for setting up the Wuhan Level 4 bio. I don't know what they call it. I guess it's supposed to be like our CDC. If you notice on the top of that picture in the first comment, it's also, Wuhan's also a source of this adrenochrome. Maybe synthesized. If you're talking to me, most of our elites want their adrenochrome fresh. And it's been rumored through this whole thing that the supply chains have been cut. They're not getting their, the wall was important for more than just keeping the Mexicans out. There's a reason I said there'd never be a wall, and there's a lot of dirty money coming across that border through drugs, human trafficking, weapons smuggling, back to Fast and Furious. There's just a lot to do with that. It's not just about keeping Mexicans out. There's a reason they need that border open. And so lines have been cut. So these people, this adrenochrome is like doing cocaine. It's a drug. makes these people feel vibrant, young again, strong, healthy. Like Jennifer Aniston makes you look very good, like Cher, like Madonna. You want one, Google up Maria Abramovich, connections to the Clintons, the Podestas, all the nasty little players in the world, all the Hollywood elites. This woman's in her 70s, and she looked pretty good. So there you go. There's the white rabbit. This is something, we've been hearing about the white rabbit. And then here in the last couple days, here comes this little tweet. And how the hell, these researchers, there's just thousands and thousands of, these are people with masters and PhDs, and these are not just crazy people living in some trailer park. There's a lot of super, super intelligent people in this movement. People in government, people in military, people in law enforcement. I know people like the ones that might watch this video try to take statue or try to feel like they're up here and maybe these people are down here. And if you do that, you're going to be underestimating a lot of people. It's unbelievable what's going on. If you look down, you'll see the picture of the military truck. Back in November, I started seeing hundreds of these. Just hundreds, brand new, ready to go. And I asked the guy, I says, where are all these dead people coming from? What kind of war are you preparing for? And this is way pre-coronavirus now. And it didn't set right. I just thought, no, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you need that many with the Red Cross? We're not in a ground battle. Trump's wanting to bring troops home. It just really didn't make sense. Then here comes the corona. Oh man, yeah, it started to make sense. And it didn't stop there. It didn't stop in November. It was December. It was January. It was February. And I think it was the day, February 29th, of our first corona death. I saw a train, more of them on it. Then armored personnel carriers with the Red Cross on it. And I said, yeah, that's odd. Yeah, that's odd. And then, the obvious thing is you see, how it blew up in China, and China shuts off the internet, but these videos are still getting out. And we just settled this Chinese trade deal, and it just didn't feel right. We watched the Syrian gas attacks, and they showed all those dead bodies lined up with the, sheets over them. They wanted Trump to go to war. Got to go to war. We can't let Assad gas his own people. And then later, you see the videos and the feet start moving. They're actors. And come to find out, it was a British intel guy that staged it all, which tragically a couple months ago fell off a cliff to his death. They didn't get their war. They needed that war. They wanted that war. Democrats begging for war. What happened to Code Pink and all these leftists that don't like war? Now they want to go to war. I guess they didn't want to talk about Genie Oil that was, sole rights in the Golan Heights, for Israel, and Dick Cheney and Rupert Murdoch and former CIA director James Woolsey, all sitting on the board. And don't forget one of those little Rothschild bastards, up on the board of directors. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense, another war for oil. Thought the left loved saying, blood for oil. No, here they are, they want to go to war in Syria. Yeah, no. But back to it. So the adrenochrome. You've got the deaths finally come over here to America. You've got it in a nursing home. This bad, horrible strain. You got a lot of people infected. And according to all the numbers, the same people posting this crap on the Facebook every day, their own math isn't working out. at the epicenter of our Wuhan, Seattle. I mean, it should be blowing up. We should have dead people dropping by the hundreds by now. But it's not. We might get one. And, I heard some rumors. What if the last batch of adrenochrome from China was tainted? Interesting. That adds a new twist. Was this nursing home director treating these old people, making them feel vibrant and young again, using the knockoff adrenochrome from China? Like I said, the rich people, the elite people, the Anderson Coopers of the world, the kind they use doesn't come from a factory. They kind of homebrew their own. I really don't want to get into all that. It's a horrible subject, and eventually you're going to probably hear about it. But there's quite a few labs throughout the world that make adrenochrome. It's more synthetic, same type of effect, allegedly, but I thought, man, if this nursing home guy handed these people, I thought, man, old people aren't up and hugging and kissing, and maybe some of them are. But they're not shaking hands, and it doesn't seem like a natural spread. That would have to be a staff member that gave it to each one of those. I mean, we had, at the time we had 22 from there dead and another 50 in ICU. When you're talking about 70 people in a short period of time infected, it had to be a staff member infected them. Now, wait a minute. What if they were giving them medicine? What if it was just the adrenochrome? Some nuance, new age, treatment. Maybe it's cheap. I don't know what it cost. And it was tainted. And they're old. And they get the coronavirus from the same factory that was, producing the adrenochrome. Maybe it was cross-contaminated. I don't know. But it makes a whole lot more sense. That's why it's not spreading all over the place, because it's just not exactly that kind of virus. It's too aggressive. And now some of you are, but what about this? What about that? There's two different viruses. There's a coronavirus that's been around for 2 decades. And I tried to hit on it with a, old friend, a smart old friend, one of those that has a lot of knowledge in the business. And it says, are they taking these numbers and putting them together from the regular coronavirus that on any given day you normally wouldn't test for, but you could test for it and it would show up? You've got coronavirus on every single year for the last 2 decades that would show up if you test. They need these numbers to go up, the bad guys and the good guys. I really don't want to talk about the bad guys right now. I just want you to understand that something else is going on here. It's being used as a cover. If you go to look up the sealed indictments in the United States right now, it's at 151,000. These CEOs, these evil CEOs we like to hate so much, I don't know, there's been like 5,000 of them have to resign. You looked at the Walmart CEO today, he looked like he was Trump's bitch. I think these people have been given an ultimatum. They're made to grovel, in front of the cameras, and I think there was a plan to do a lot of us a lot of harm, and this should have been a lot worse. And I believe it was stopped. And I honestly believe that back end of January, beginning of February, a large percentage of the population of the whole world was saved by a man a lot of you people hate. I ain't asking you to be a supporter. Maybe give him a little bit of slack right now while this thing goes on, because no matter what, whether I'm right or CNN or Fox News is right, we're definitely all in this together. So I just ask you to just give it a little slack, and I'd like you to keep an open mind that And as you see weird stuff happen, things that don't make sense, I'd like you to keep an open mind and start thinking about some things I'm telling you. The quarantine is going to happen. Air travel is going to stop. These people aren't going to be able to escape. Arrests are going to be made. All these Red Cross Jeeps, Humvees, they're going to come into your towns. Most of them in the major metropolises, Springfield, Vegas, two places where, mean a lot to me. They'll be there. But they're not coming for you. Unless you already know what adrenochrome is. And maybe they are. It would be real sad if some of you end up in this mess. But they're going to come. And people will be sick, and the scared people that get us sick. There's a lot of sickness. I think what they say, 96% was not testing positive for corona. They were testing positive for others. There's a lot of sick people. People get sick every year, My family was just sick a few days ago. But they're going to go to these triage. And they'll have triage to treat you and check you out. And I'm sure there's going to be tests available. And if you want to get into the evil stuff, I honestly think why the media's been pushing this test. I think that's how they were going to spread it. You remember when they had 3 tests and 2 out of 3 were good, but 1 wasn't. They got rid of it. They fixed it. I honestly, and the CDC had the Obama administration had made the law to where it had to go through this organization, DHS and CDC. And I'm going to take you down a little rabbit hole here. I don't know if any of you remember in the last year, that Air Force lieutenant that was working for the CDC that came up missing, black guy. And he went over to his neighbor's house and told her to, have his wife wipe all their messages off their phone and acted frantic. And then he came up missing. They didn't find him for, 6-8 weeks. And they were search parties, he didn't take any of his stuff. And they ended up finding him face down in the creek behind his house. Should have found him the first day. But not if you're being interrogated to find out who you've told of the plan, So I believe the first test kit that wasn't good test kit, the one that some people probably that are watching this, they should have tested earlier. Well, if they'd have tested earlier, there'd be a lot more dead people right now, in my humble opinion. There'd be a lot more dead people. You know how Zicam works. You take a little flu, put it on a swab, put it in your nose, your mouth, gives you a little bit of the virus. That way your body builds up immunity to it. Well, I think they were going to swab us the same type of way. But not with the same type of thing. But I don't really think there's any danger from coronavirus. Maybe some of these people, you notice, think about this. You're in a meat market out in the middle of bum-ass China. Now all of a sudden you've got the number 2 in the Vatican falls ill with the coronavirus, dead, and number 2 vice president or whatever they call it over in Iran falls dead, and Brazilian president, old Trudeau up there in Canada, he just got the coronavirus too, and his wife did, and now they're secluded, and you got Merkel, resigning, and I guess she's trembling real bad and having a lot of issues, and who knows what's wrong with her. I think that's something else, but a lot of weird things have happened in the last few years. All 3 countries that spied on the Trump campaign, with their spy agencies, like our FBI, CIA. What's the chances that the 3 countries, Australia, Italy, and Great Britain, all had their prime ministers resign? First trip to Saudi Arabia, and the Crown Prince arrests 184 of the royal family, strips them of the royalty, strips them of their money. That kind of ties into Khashoggi stuff that a bunch of you got outraged about. But like I said, if you don't know, because you're not being told, it's not even that any of you are stupid. you're not being told, you know. And if you don't see the information, how can you even add that into what you think or believe or even put it in for consideration? If you're not getting somebody that's credible, like an Anderson Cooper or a Sean Hannity or a pastor or I don't know, somebody you really trust. I mean, the people that we trust the most have been the ones that have been letting us down. Every politician, left and right, as long as we've been alive, has been lying to us. And if they don't give you this information, how can you be expected to know it? You know, I tried explaining that, you know, if I taught you math as a little child and I taught you math using only letters, you'd be pretty good at math. You know how to put those numbers or those letters together and frontwards, backwards, you'd be a genius. But you still couldn't add 2 plus 2 because you'd never been given that information. Well, let's start. Here's the first key. You know, this is it. And most of you went out shopping. Most of you got your toilet paper, I hope. I know my family got theirs, and so I'm not too worried, even if I'm wrong. I give myself about a 4% chance of being wrong, so we'll see. The point is, stay in, stay safe, get to know your family. Every distraction's been cut off. There's no more sports. There's no more concerts. There's just you and your family. Go home and meet them again. You know, maybe put these stupid little devices down. Right now they know they've got your attention. All eyes on this thing. All eyes on the information. And once it cuts off, remember that presidential emergency broadcast test, you know, where the messages go straight to your phone? Keep your ears open. It's going to come. There's going to be a good chance that Facebook and Google and the Twitter sphere, they're going to shut down for a little bit. Maybe the internet. Get to know your family. Don't be afraid. It's going to be okay. You're not going to get sick. This is not going to spread. It's going to end. It's not going to be a long time. I don't think I want to take you down anywhere else yet. I don't want to argue with you. If you got honest questions, man, please, you know, we talk about it. I mean, I've got this shit oozing out of my ears. It's you feel really alone in the world when you know stuff that nobody else could even have that conversation. You know, it's just, you feel real alone. And believe me, there's a bunch of disinformation out there. You start looking up this stuff, man, there's, for everyone that's good information, there's two that's not. So it's tough, man. I've thrown away so many sources in the past 15 years or better. It's tough. But hopefully it won't be that way for long, you know. Hopefully they'll change. I can't imagine going through this plan to start it all over, going right back down the wrong path. So we'll see. But, so bottom line, you got your groceries, you got your family. You are going home. You're not going to work. You're not going to go to school. Probably 30, 35 days, if I had to guess. Best guess. By next weekend, I got to imagine we'll all be in our homes. Tents will be set up. Checkpoints will be there. They'll be taking temperatures. If you need to go out and get your stuff, maybe you'll be able to go straight through, you know, in certain hours when they're not doing operations. You'll see those little Jeeps moving in, moving out, and you won't know who's inside it. You're going to assume it's a sick person. And believe me, they're sick probably, but just not with corona. A lot of bad in this world. You know, there's so many children every single year go missing. And for the last 2.5 years, that's got to be the hardest thing. That's, you know, I'm sitting here watching what's going on the Facebook, and personally, I like the fuzzy kitty and the fuzzy puppy posts the most. I don't like arguing politics and this, because it's pointless, you know. We don't really speak the same language yet. And I don't know, a lot of nights you go to bed and you know this bad stuff is still happening, and you want to believe it's going to be stopped. You want to believe it, but you know there's people suffering all over the country right now, all over the world. And in the last 3 or 4 days, like I said, 94%. In my heart, it's 100, but for here, it's 94%. I'll give you a 6% chance of being right. But it needs to end. And when you hang up here, why don't you Google how many kids go missing in the world every year? How many women fall into human trafficking, sex slave? How many missing persons never to be found? They're going somewhere. There's a lot of hurt parents. There's a lot of hurt children. You know, friends of children. And hopefully after this month, it's not going to be any more, you know? That's my hope. And as I've seen these proofs and these things, it gives me hope that the whole story that I believe, you know, that'd be the 3-day program here. It would take a lot of time to go through it all, but it gives me hope to believe that it's going to come to an end. And our connection to each other will be brought back together. That town hall with Trump the other day when he talked about, you know, a woman asked him a question about toning the rhetoric down. You know, people in her family don't want to talk to her because she supports him. And he had made the comment that I think we're going to come together through success. And success is going to bring us together. And then the thing that stuck with me was he said, and I think it's going to happen sooner than you think. And I do too. I'm not even sure we'll have an election. I think as people understand what the hell has just gone on and what the hell has been happening, you're going to ask yourself, what the hell did we do to deserve this second chance? I don't know if we ever will understand the gravity of the second chance we've just been given. But we'll see. We're not going to have to wait 6 months. You'll all know within a few weeks. So like I said, you know, get to know your family.